There we go. All right. So welcome to our power hour, our first power hour in the evening. Super exciting. And this power hour will end at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So we do have quite a bit to go through. We're going to keep the evening ones a little bit shorter and give you chances to get off the power hour. And instead of spending that half an hour talking, we can spend a half an hour doing stuff. And so that will be action oriented as well. Welcome everybody. Again, our intention with this power hour is to focus on the fundamentals, the progressive steps that it takes to start helping people well. You have taken on your phase 2 of this program, and it was intended for every single one of us. Every single one of us needs a healthy mind. Every single one of us wants to have healthy finances. Every single one of us wants healthy relationships. And so it was actually intended for every single client to start guiding other people. Some clients choose to do that through referrals and they guide other people that way. And other clients choose to do it through guiding with their coach, right? Which is a beautiful way. It has to be superior, because what we heard the other day on the Wednesday night call was that when someone does something self-directed, a self-directed diet, a self-directed plan, that they have 10 times less of a chance at succeeding. So when we do things in community and when we do things together and we're partnered with community, we have a 10 times higher success rate. Dr. A knew that when he created the program. So I want to start out with some very fundamental things that I have put together for us today. Let's talk about what it means to go to senior coach. That means that you are supporting 5 clients and that you are impacting 5 different households and getting them on the path to real, true, optimal health. Okay, that's what that means, that you've impacted 5 lives in that way. The very first skill that we teach is how to assess somebody's health. Okay, that's the very first skill that we teach, is a health assessment. A health assessment is not a call where we hope to get them. Okay, we hope that they feel seen. We hope that our story has a chance to come through in that call at some level. We hope to connect and make a big old trust deposit that, hey guys, this is not a diet. We hope to awaken them on that call, that this is far more than they even knew when they reached out and talked to us in our inbox about, hey, what are you doing? So we already start providing abundance in the very first conversation, because they were thinking they were going to get some info on a diet. And now all of a sudden they're getting 30 minutes, 25, depending on your time frame, 20 to 30 minutes of your undivided attention, where they get to be seen and they get to be heard. And maybe it's been a really long time since someone has asked them, how are you doing? Like, how are you really doing? And listening. So when you think about practice calls, you could think, oh boy, I got to get a bunch of people on the phone with my mentor, and I had already told them I don't want to sell, and now they've got me selling. Okay, that could be one perspective that you could have, where you could have a limiting belief around what that is and what it isn't. But if you've been here any length of time, you now know that is our first chance to add value to another human being. Okay, and that we know that when we get a no and they say no thank you, this was great but no thank you, what a lot of us know from being here a little while is that that's just a not yet, and it's not even a no. And even if it is, they know a lot of people that need health, and if that call provided value, they will resonate with that and they will pass people on to you. So we really have nothing to fear. We don't even have to fear the no, right? And I'd like to open this up. I want this to be interactive. If anyone's new, or if you've just completed your practice calls, let's talk about that a little bit. And if anybody has any chatter, like, yeah, I haven't gotten mine done yet because I thought this or that. This is family. I would like to talk, about that a little bit so that you feel very comfortable. First of all, part of our culture here is we're transparent, guys. So there is no like, oh, there's judgment because you said that. No, please feel comfortable as you grow to senior coach to start communicating with us and telling us maybe some fears that you're having or anything. So I'd like to open it up if you'd like to share, or if you have any questions about setting up these practice calls, I would love to answer them. Or some of the leaders can answer them as well. We've got lots of people on. Anybody have any questions at all? No. All right. How about anybody that has recently done one or two? What surprised you about the practice calls? Anybody? Let's see. Tammy. Aubrey, you've done some, right? Yeah,
Well,
I might call on you if it gets really quiet.
I did find that it was more personal than what my practice ones were.
Okay.
More interactive, more personal with the person I was talking to. And I'm more comfortable in that environment when it can get personal.
Yes. Okay. I love it. So what you're saying is that, and this is the whole intention, guys, the practice calls, you have a mentor on the line, right? And that we're here to support you. We're not here to critique you. We're here to help you learn how to do that practice call and do it well. Okay. We're here to fill in any blanks that you may have forgotten to share about our program. We're here to augment you and to provide that first practice, that first swing at doing the health assessment. The reason why we want to do 5 of them as fast as we can is because we want to transfer that skill to you immediately so that you feel like now you have the ability to do a health assessment on your own with that higher level of intimacy that Tammy's talking about. And you don't have to align your mentor schedule, and you don't have to worry about that scheduling them and the client and you, right? So the very first skill that we teach you is how to connect with people and do a health assessment. So from there, we really work on making sure that you know how to tell your story. Okay. Your story is what they are buying. If they were buying something, they are buying your story. So our stories at Optavia, they keep evolving. And I want to share this with you because this is so important. There's different parts of your story that are going to appeal to different people. Okay. So having your story be something that you really get good at, where you're like, who was I before Optavia? And some of us that have been here a while, we need to do this again. We need to do this in May, like where we need to relaunch that story and go, wait a second, my story hasn't been updated for 4 months to a year. Maybe I should do my grand opening in May because I want to connect with 4 or 5 people and I'm not a brand new coach, but I haven't told my story in a while. Okay. So I want you to think of this when we do Coach Explorers and we talk to brand new coaches that we're thinking, hey, this client is going to really be great at guiding people. So we go through the Coach Explore. Probably the most common objection that we hear is, well, I'm not at my healthy weight yet, so I'm going to wait and start guiding people when I get to my goal. Okay. And right then and there, with full transparency to all of you, I realize that they don't understand our mission, that they think we're a weight loss company, and that they think we're a diet company, and that they think we're a nutrition company. And it makes me really sad, but I realize that that's normal for people to think that. However, I've been here 4 years and I'm just starting to tap into a healthy mind. Literally. Okay. When I came here, I was closed, fixed, and opinionated with a need to be right like no other. My ego was huge. Okay. And I really was getting in my own way. And I didn't want to be like that. I didn't even see it until I started really getting on these trainings and calls and going like, oh gosh, I think they're describing me, you know? And until you start helping clients, do you not see the things in your, whatever your clients do that uh maybe frustrates you or upsets you, you see like, oh, look at me. I have so much development that I need to do. So I want to go back to, how does that relate to the story? It relates because if we think that we're going to be done with this program before we start helping people, how are you going to be done? You're going to be, so, because we're not a weight loss company. So put that away, right? That's absolutely what we're not. That's only 25% of our offering. So if you were to think about the fact that we have a nutritional arm, yes, we have a healthy body component. So sorry, guys. Tim's phone's connected to my computer. We'll have to figure that out tomorrow. So with that, you've got nutrition as 25% of your offering. You've got a healthy body as 25% of your offering. But it would sound as silly as this. I'm not going to start my phase two until I'm independently wealthy. All of my relationships are on point. I have a total healthy surroundings. Nothing in my environment is disturbing me. My mind is open, coachable, curious, with tons of room for creation. I have no scarcity mindsets. I live in abundance, and I am at a 16% body fat, and my BMI is 21 and a half. Right? So like that, does that sound kind of crazy? Like that's when I'm going to start guiding people. And so I want to share that with you, even if you're brand new, especially if you're brand new, because if that doesn't make sense, then a lot of the things that your mentors will ask you to do will sound like things that you don't really understand. Where you're like, why are they asking me to do that? You know? And so the key part of you being successful, getting to your first 5 clients, is going to be open bids of trust. Okay. So remember how your mentor helped you with healthy body, and they 5 and 1'd you, right? Maybe most of us. And you're like, wow, that was pretty predictable and proven. That was pretty great. Guess what? This business is the same exact way. This mission is the same exact way. If you do these things happen almost always. I've been here 4 years and I haven't seen someone tell their story repeatedly and inspirationally and have it not connect them to other people. Okay, so let's piece this out step by step. Very first thing, 5 practice calls usually. Those need to happen so that you can have that skill set of the health assessment, and then we move on from that skill. Okay, the simultaneous skill that we're learning, and you'll never be done with this, and it's going to be ongoing, and you'll revise it all the time, is what is your story? Who were you before Optavia? Like really, 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 who were you? And how about the scroll stopping stuff that you were, right? Where you're like, well, I don't really tell anybody that. Okay, that's the stuff that society right now is going like, oh my gosh, that's me. So remember that parts of your story are going to resonate with parts of your audience. And that's why we keep telling our story, because it's always ongoing and evolving. So who were you before Optavia? Like really, really dig in, okay? If you don't know who you were before Optavia, ask your husband or your kids or your wife, okay? They're pretty darn good at telling us who we really are. And they're like, you talk different to Optavians than you do to us. Whoa, right? They'll tell you, just ask them. Yep. So that's a good one. And then the second thing is, who are you becoming in this? Who are you becoming in the community? Who are you becoming in your eating and in your drinking and in your body? And what is that doing to your environment? I just spoke with a client that said, Rachel, my kids are drinking water. Rachel, my kids are asking for vegetables. Rachel, my kids are reading labels. She's like, you don't understand what me going first did to my house. And she's like, this is mind blowing. My husband's actually using a sleep app now, and mama had to go first, right? So I think that when you see that, like, what's happening in my house that's different? And have I lost my gratitude for it? Maybe if you're a more seasoned coach and you're about ready to put your story out again, have you lost gratitude for anything? Or kind of, oh yeah, that's normal. We all eat vegetables now. Well, that's not normal for a lot of people. So what is that? And then the third part of your story is the continuum of what are you looking forward to becoming more of? What do you need to unbecome to continue on this path of abundance, right? Where we don't live in scarcity and we don't live in fear or a peer approval. One of the things that I would say to a new coach is be willing to be peculiar. The faster you're willing to be peculiar, the better you'll be at connecting with other people because people are going to make up stories about you either way. So why don't you write the story every chance you get on social media and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm learning. This is who I'm unbecoming. I took the bullet out of the gun. You don't even have to judge me because I'm so transparent that I'm telling you where I hurt and I'm telling you where I failed in my eating and I'm telling you that I used food as comfort. I'm going to say it first. So who can judge, right? Who can hurt me? And I think that why I'm saying this is because clients get really excited when they become a coach. And then they have this little sometimes like freeze, right? When it's time to get your story out, when it's time to use social media to start conversations, when it's time to do the practice calls, and we freeze. And if you're frozen, if you're watching this either on the playback or even now, and you're like, I think I'm frozen. Um, I want to do this. I bought a coaching kit, but I think I'm frozen, right? Then that's okay because we invited you here to become more. And that's just part of your metamorphosis. It's part of your story is that you froze at one point. So what? Just lose the judgment and lean into your mentors and say, I'm a little frozen right now. I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe buyer's remorse or I got in my head, but will you launch me again? Right. And we will. So the steps for starting your business are very clear. We need to get the word out. Okay. Getting the word out, we do that primarily through social media. We utilize our story to do that. And we have to make sure that we're open. Just, I want you to think of this. Okay. I want to give you a visual. Have you guys ever gotten excited to run to like a store where you're like, everybody gets in the car and you're like, let's go get this treat or whatever. And everybody's in the car and you drive up there and you looked at the business hours and they were open, but you drive up and you see the sign that says closed. And you're like, oh, sorry, guys, they're closed. You know, when you think about your social media, are you open for business? Are you open? Is there ever a time where people are like, I want some hope today? Oh, Brian's closed. Shoot, dang it. He's not inspiring anyone today. Maybe tomorrow, right? He's not educating anyone today. Maybe tomorrow. He's not living out loud today. Maybe tomorrow. So when we shy down from getting the word out, we are offending the very thing that led us to hope. Because I'm going to guess, put a 1 in the chat if you learned about this program through social media on any level. Put a 1. If it was a post, if it was a healthy hope event or anything, look at all the ones, right? Put a 2 in the chat if it wasn't that. If it was relationship driven, where you had a relationship with somebody and you knew that they did this and you reached out. Okay. So a pretty good mix of both. So our business, our mission is relational. It's relational, but it's also transactional because no transformation happens until the transaction happens. None. So we get to embrace that. So I'd like to talk a little bit. I'd like you guys to be free to ask questions, comment, anything that this is sparking in you. And again, if you're like, I want to add 5 clients this month. I'm already a senior coach. This is the kind of stuff that we have to still embrace, right? Absolutely. Jeannie, I think, Jeannie, are you on? I see your hand up. I think you just have to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm running errands while listening to this. So I try my best doing the health assessment, and I noticed some people, they're like, I don't want to know what you're telling me. I want to know, how do you get skinny? I'm trying to tell them it's more than the food I'm eating. So how do I get around that?
Okay. So evaluate which parts of the program maybe you're putting out on social media as well. So I would have to go to your Facebook. If I was your mentor, I would have to go to your Facebook and I'd have to go like this, and I'd have to audit it, and I'd have to say, I see a lot of before and afters, but not a lot of mindset, not a lot of the other components, okay? Perhaps. And I think that if we want to brand ourselves as not a diet, not a weight loss program entirely, don't get me wrong, before and afters, that's the stop the scrolling, like, wait a second, right? There isn't a better visual to health than seeing a physical transformation. We can't take pictures of our mind and put them out there and show the healthy marriage and all the things, but we can talk about it and we can capture it. So my suggestion to you would be to show the other aspects of this program around the life book and what it's teaching you, not necessarily the life book, but share with people, I'm so glad I'm hashtag not a diet, hashtag lifestyle change, hashtag transformational coach. If you end up getting on a health assessment and they start to drive the health assessment, take the wheel back, okay? Sometimes people like to drive an alpha on the assessment, okay? And unfortunately, we have to take that back, because otherwise we're going to start the relationship where they're driving and I don't want to hear about that. And we might just say, you know what, I'm not sure that my program is a fit for you. Because actually what I do, this is one of my first lines in my health assessment. Actually, what I do is I'm on a mission to end diets. I'm on a mission to end the trend of dysfunctional eating and drinking and living, and dieting is actually one of those things, right? I can help you to get to a healthy body, but we're going to need to have a healthy mind for it to live in, or else all the weight will be back and then some. Yeah. So you're going to have to do a little bit of like, hold on, you called me because you wanted help, and I'm going to share with you the way I got transformed wasn't with a mindset of getting skinny. That just happened once I started treating my body correctly. But there's a lot more to health than being skinny, my friend. So don't be afraid to awaken people and just say, that's okay. I used to want to be skinny too. I used to chase a number on a scale too. But what I found was from this program is that there was more for me. And now I'm going to keep my weight off and not just chase skinny every year, right? So don't be afraid of that. Micah, I see your hand up. You want to share with us too?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I love about what we're talking about is that it doesn't matter where you're at in the business. When you're like, I'm thinking about my business right now, and I'm like, I need to get back into client acquisition mode. How do I do that again? Like, I've gotten away from that a bit, and it's right here. It's as simple as going to senior coach over and over again. And so I love, that's where it's like we overcomplicate it. And I think that sometimes we feel like our story has run dry, and it hasn't. I look at the coaches that inspire me when I'm feeling unmotivated and I don't want to do anything. They're posting about water and like healthy mindset. I'm like, that's exactly what I'm doing. I just have fallen off the, bandwagon with it or whatever. And I'm just need to get back to doing that. And one of the things that I always think about is nobody wants to see the end of the movie. We don't go to the movie theater and watch the end of the movie. We want to see the whole thing unfold. And so if we're constantly thinking about unfolding our story on social media, then it becomes interesting and engaging and, inspiring to others, even if we think that it's not. And so I love that if we get this, it's the foundation, and the business just continues to grow. And so, yeah, so I love that, what you're saying.
So good. So good. And you know what we're going to do is we're going to continue to unpack the fundamental truths of our business that can never get boring. If we let them get boring, then all we have is busy work, right? Because the passion of our story is where everything started. You fell in love with your coach's story, and it was their story that led you to the health assessment that led you to your phase two. So we want to embrace those fundamental truths and make sure that we're really good storytellers. Now, as you write your story out, I have seen coaches send me beautiful, long, elaborate stories. Well, we know that because of society's attention span, right? They will be like, I want to see the picture or whatever. So, but let me tell you, that's not all for naught, because if you were to take a highlighter and just go, I'm going to highlight one aspect of my story today, and that's a post. Tomorrow, I'm going to take another aspect of my story. That's a post. That's a post. So when we feel dry about, I don't know what to post, we might need that master brain dump of who we're becoming and where we're going and where we're coming from, for people to go, oh, wow, every time, like because they're buying you. They don't know about Optavia yet. No one should know about Optavia because we don't give away the how before we know their why. So they're buying you, Barb, or you, Tammy. They're resonating with you. And then later we get to tell them about the vehicle and about the toolkit and about the program, right, of True Health. The True Health is the program. But I need you to know that, like, they're buying you. And so your story needs to evolve and be fresh. And I want to share something too. One of my existing clients said, I want you to post more about health or whatever, because, that keeps me motivated. And I thought to myself, look at me with my chatter. I used to post, I'm just being real transparent with you guys. I used to post when I was like looking for a new client, And then one of my existing clients was like, I like them too. And I'm like, well, there's a reason to be consistent, right? We should not just be posting when we're looking for a new client, but that's our human frailty, and that's okay. We get to be frail here, and we get to be Dory here, because we all have each other and we're all just trying to grow. So I would just really want to give you that tonight is, how are you doing with your health assessment? Fundamentally, if you say to yourself, guess what? I've done 5 practice calls, but I still struggle with breaking down price, or I still struggle with explaining the whole program without taking an hour on the health assessment. Guess what? That's what some of these subsequent trainings, we're going to get really good at that together. Okay. We're going to get some soft skills, some hard skills, and we're going to get it done. Okay. Piece by piece by piece. But tonight, I just wanted to invite you into a space of 2 things. Are you giving your mentor an open bid of trust? There's nothing catastrophic that will happen to you. You do not have catastrophic exposure. Sometimes in life we do, right? Where we give someone an opening bid of trust, and Lord, like, so many things can happen because it could be catastrophic, right? The thing that happens with them. That's not going to happen here. We don't have any health emergencies in health coaching. We don't break anything. It's really not like that. Your ego will need to be de-emphasized throughout your journey. It will need to shrink, and that's okay. It's not going to start out like that. But just understand that if you give your mentor an opening bit of trust and you say, guess what, Micah, guess what, Patrick and Sherry, guess what, Carol Kennedy, for the next 30 days, I'm going to do exactly what you say. Like, you want me to start 10 conversations a day? I'm going to start 10 conversations a day. You want me to follow the leader, okay? For the next 30 days, because your mind is going to be blown at how predictable this mission is when you follow the leader, keep telling your story, and master your health assessment. And it takes time to master the health assessment. But when somebody's ready, you can't say the wrong thing. They're just like, I don't care, right? Here it is. And now our job with them, when they're just like throwing their credit card at you, sign me up, is to make sure they understand their role and our role, and that we are going to have their ability to coach them, right? This isn't a diet and we want to really love on them and help them. So that was all I really had for tonight. Our action item for this evening is very simple. Whoever your mentor is, your challenge is to say, I give you an opening bit of trust for the next 30 days, and I'm going to play a serious mad game of follow the leader. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is go write your story. And it might not all get done tonight, and that's okay, but start it. Okay. And then the other thing is no matter where you're at in your business, go start 3 conversations tonight on social media. Not necessarily, hey, you want to do my program, right? We don't do that, guys. If you stick around long enough, you're going to see, you know what? They really are not that way. They really want me to go out and make connections with people, genuinely, authentically connect. So go connect with 3 people tonight that are, look at your feed. And next time we meet, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get a little more granular. But I just wanted to kick it off with those things tonight. Let's be really good storytellers. And really, I'm going to give you in 1 minute, we're going to close on this. Dr. A's story, right? So here he is, 10th board certified surgeon and doctor, critical care physician in the United States. He's soaring. He was at the pinnacle of his career. Okay. And he decided one day, I was at convention when they told this story. He said, I literally I got pricked with a needle that I thought was an HIV positive needle. And it kind of woke him up and he started thinking about his whole life. And he was like, wait a second, but that's not it. I really feel like I'm killing people slowly with medications and surgery. And if that's what they really want, I'm okay with that. But I know there's a whole chunk of them that don't want that they really want to be the dominant force in their life. And he came home and he told Lori this vision that he had for Optavia. And of course, she's his wife and she's a nurse and he's, this renowned physician. And she's like, well, cool, you're having a midlife crisis. Like, who should I call? Because what are you suggesting? And he was like, I want to do it and I want to start now. They financed their entire savings, financed Optavia. They lived literally off scraps for 3 years to make this happen. They cashed out everything and bet the farm on this vision. And Dr. A has the antidote to a lot of the poor health in this country. He does. Just look and Nourish. When you're bored tonight, go type in like diabetes or metformin or whatever and just see if he doesn't, right? But the antidote is as good as nothing if we don't get out there and be bold and start telling our story and sharing and being willing to be peculiar and play follow the leader. It won't mean anything because it won't reach enough people and it won't make a dent. So each one teach one is why you're here. And now we're going to have fun with it. Okay. So next time we talk, we'll really work on health assessment ninja skills. We're going to have other leaders coming in and sharing ninja skills on health assessments, ninja skills on starting conversations, because we're going to get better together, right? And I'm excited. And if you knew all this stuff tonight, my challenge for you is, can you teach it? And if you're like, yes, I can, great. Can you teach it 6 layers down? Because that's the kind of passion and enthusiasm that has to go 6 layers down into your organization. Okay, awesome, guys. Thank you for staying over a few minutes tonight, and we will see you next Thursday.